I always love his presentation. I literally like copy every slide from this presentation when I see it or any derivative of it thereof, because he's really thinking about that customer experience in a way that I don't think is brought to e-commerce, frankly, enough. And so with that said, Valentin, and I could see, did you just write random math equations on the board behind you? Like,
Yeah, I made that earlier with my colleagues so that we look smart and use the math to improve the business.
That's hilarious. I love it. Awesome. And thank you for joining us today. With that said, I'm really looking forward to this presentation. We're going to talk about customer value optimization and your own growth algorithm that you created. So with that said, I'll let you take it away.
Great. So Derek, thanks a lot for inviting me, and for you all out there, thanks a lot for watching. My purpose and my intention is to give away as many shortcuts as I can, so that you can grow your business by using the data. Derek, please let me know if you can see my
Looks
screen.
perfect.
Great. So before jumping into the data and metrics and all sorts of that, I must tell you that I'm a former e-commerce entrepreneur, such as some of you are. So I've started back in 2006. We were selling a lot of stuff, and we ended up by selling car insurance. So after that, I've consulted a lot of e-commerce players, and I went through the trail of seeing how the revenue spikes are looking into the Black Friday fever. So in this presentation, I'm going to try to help you not to lose money and to maximize your profit during this Black Friday. So what I've noticed is that many e-commerce leaders think about Black Friday profitability like in this famous cartoon over here. So first we're gonna cut off the prices, and then a miracle occurs at the end and we're gonna actually make money. So I think maybe you're not that guy, but maybe in the future you're gonna, after this presentation, you're gonna have some glimpses over how to actually make money for each product line or for each customer, becoming customer centric. So instead of looking at slashing prices and being profitable, let's dive into data, because I prepared a lot of data. We have the privilege to work with the data from hundreds of e-commerce stores, and today I've enriched the presentation with data coming from 5 different stores, and let's look at how their cohort analysis look like. So as you can see here, this is how much they've made in new revenue. Yeah, this is the revenue. This is actually a snapshot from our technology. And you can see here that this cohort of October 19, they've generated 20,000 euro in this case. And then in November, only 9% of the revenue has been kept from the cohort that started the relation with this store in October. Then in November, it was almost the same thing. So they got 15% month over month growth. So it wasn't a fantastic Black Friday for them, but and the effect of that cohort was that it wasn't that sticky. So we can see some different data if we look further. This company made 15,000 euro or US dollars in the October 19. And then they've been able to keep a quarter of those customers coming in November. And that sticked in December, but as you can see, this second month stickiness rate, this is the metric. So how much of the revenue you are able to keep on the subsequent month after Black Friday? That is the question, because you don't want one-time night stands, right? You want long-term relationships with thousands or hundreds of thousands of customers. That's the goal, right? Or depending on your e-commerce goal, but I bet that is not going to harm you if you have more customers coming. Now let's look at this company as well. So they got 91,000 US dollars coming in October, and their stickiness rate was 9%. So they weren't betting on Black Friday too much. However, it's clear that they've diminished the prices, and it paid off because this cohort was one of the best cohorts ever for them. So mainly it's only the pandemic that brought in the same kind of behavior. As you could see here in April and in March, they've got a higher customer cohort stickiness rate. So that was a positive effect. So what I'm stating here is look at your own data and see if last year you've acquired customers that end up to be loyal, or you've just slashed your prices, diminished your margin, made a lot of work, shipped a lot of products and a lot of orders, and at the end up not being so profitable and not getting long-term customers as well. And as you can see over here, in terms of this customer, they used to have customers that stick around from October to November. They've got something like 3 times more revenue from October to November, but their second month cohort stickiness rate was actually lower than it used to be. So that means they've acquired customers that haven't sticked with them anymore. Now, if you want to do the same analysis, it's up to you. Otherwise, you can simply slash your prices and see what's going on. And another example, 0% month-over-month growth. So they haven't been so able to acquire new customers as they used to do. And the effect was negative. So it dropped from 17% customers that stick around from October to November to 12%. So what I'm stating here is that depending on the kind of product that you're selling, and depending on the onboarding that you have to keep those customers coming, you need to change your game. Because if you are customer centric and if you pay attention, and if you are aware about these facts, you might end up being more profitable than you used to. And in this case, as you can see here, the pandemic was even better than Black Friday. So my first conclusions: before putting money into Black Friday discounts, consider CLV and the second month stickiness rate. So look at your own data before making decisions, because it's not that you are selling these goods to random strangers. You are selling these goods to known customers that could behave and that could have a routine of buying more from you in the future. Then it is always a good idea to think long term, and that's why you look at your own data in the past. And third is use your data. So don't just cut off prices because profit solves all problems. And a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of e-commerce companies play the game of market share without understanding that they need to be profitable. That's the game that you're doing, because cash flow is king and profit solves all problems. So now the context is so that the e-commerce is booming. So we've seen this in the pandemic. We're going to see this as well, thanks to or due to this crazy environment. Now, if we want to grow on e-commerce, we need to take into account something that is disregarded. So my initial growth e-commerce formula as a former e-commerce entrepreneur was that traffic multiplied by the conversion rate multiplied by the average order value. Fact is that other smart people than I am understood that there are only 3 ways to grow any business. And it's the same for e-commerce as well. Increase the number of clients, increase the average transaction per customer, and get each customer to buy from you more often. Fact is that the first 2 ways to grow in e-commerce are overused and not moving the needle on the long run. Because if you simply pour new customers that never come back, that's not a sustainable business. If you only increase average order per customer, but they are never going to come back, you're always going to rely on customer acquisition to grow your company. And you'll end up to a ceiling at some moment, and I'm going to show you why. So one aspect is that relying solely on customer acquisition is more expensive than ever. So according to data, the average Facebook CPC is 8 times higher, while the retail e-commerce sales worldwide were only 1.5 times higher last year. So that means the actual growth e-commerce formula needs to take into account the future behavior of your customers, and also needs to take into account how expensive it is to acquire those customers. And that's why my revisited growth e-commerce formula that is actually working, of course, takes into account the traffic and conversion rate, but it's also taking into account the ratio between how much are you making from each customer, which means the customer lifetime value, and how much does it cost for you to acquire that customer, which is the customer acquisition cost. Now, the CLV is also affected by things like margin, the RFM score, customer experience, how satisfied are those customers, because it's a strong correlation between how customers are feeling after the buying experience and how much are they willing to buy from you in the future. So how to improve customer lifetime value? I'm going to be real fast on that. So we have a proven methodology to improve customer lifetime value. One, measure what matters. You can't lose weight unless you use a scale, right? So you need to not only use a diet and exercise, but you also need to monitor your weight. So monitor customer retention, net promoter score, customer effort score, average days between the transaction, orders per customer, and the second month cohort stickiness rate. Then second, change the way your company defines success, because CLV is something that is being affected by all the company, all the departments. It's not just a marketing KPI, but it's the measure of the company-wide success. So improving how the company defines success means that you're looking at the real leaderboard. So that's the score. That's how you score. If the CLV goes up, that means the company is going well, because revenue can be misleading, and you're going to see why in just a few minutes. Then find your ideal customer profile by doing RFM segmentation, which stands for recency, frequency, and monetary value, and analyzing your best and worst customers. You'll end up understanding which are your best customers and which are your worst customers, which are the active ones, and how to approach them. Now that Black Friday is coming, maybe you might want to do tailor-made campaigns based on the CLV of the customers, and not blast everyone with your incredible discounts. So then the next step would be to optimize the customer journey and to do customer journey mapping. That's not applicable right now, but once Black Friday is over, maybe you can think long-term to improve the customer experience to customers that deserve that. Then find the toxic products, the buying habits, and the anomalies. Understand that if a product is selling well, it doesn't mean that that product is also bringing you loyal customers. You might want to look at the customer retention rate and how that product is affecting the long-term relation with your customers. So that means optimize product assortment so that you keep and you merchandise and you prioritize the products which are bringing you not only instant revenue, but also long-term revenue thanks to a better CLV. Then the next step would be to focus on the ICPs when you acquire new customers. So that means shifting your acquisition focus towards the ICP. So that means ongoing optimization on how you treat your best customers early on. Then the last but not the least is what most of us are doing: campaigns, email campaigns, ad campaigns, website personalization experiments. All of that should be informed by the previous steps. So mainly what I'm stating here, that maybe it's time to look at how valuable are the customers before running our email campaigns blasts for Black Friday. So in order to understand the CLV impact, I'm going to give you this calculator. So you simply go to omniconvert.com/retention calculator. You play with these sliders over here and you understand what is the impact of customer retention in your business, because growth is not the same as growth generating factors. Now, let me give you an example. These companies called B Fashion. Back in 2015, they were making 11 million US dollars in annual revenue. They got 90 employees and they were present in 11 countries. But their symptoms, even though they were doubling their revenue year over year, was that the customer lifetime value was going down by 20%. Their net promoter score was less than 40, and the ratio between the customer lifetime value and customer acquisition cost was less than 1.5. So that meant with the retention rate, which was less than 20%, that they were not making the cut in the future. So they were running towards new customers, but they weren't being able to keep them. So once they've reached the plateau, they couldn't acquire new customers because it was expensive to acquire them through Facebook and through ads because they were not returning anymore. So that meant for the company, the end. So that company, which had the fantastic growth, without looking at what kind of adjustments to do on the product offering, on the customer experience, and to fix the problems that they got, they just focused on customer acquisition, and eventually, even though they got an investment, they ran out of fuel for the future. So what you want to do is to look at things like the trend in the predictive customer lifetime value and the historical lifetime value to see if this is going up or down. And if it's going down, stop whatever you're doing, because that means you don't have a sustainable business in the future. Now, how to improve customer lifetime value by using RFM segmentation? First, RFM reveals how much of the revenue is being generated by the returning customers. So once you have more than 30% of the revenue coming from returning customers, you have to do RFM segmentation. Now, RFM stands for recency, frequency, and monetary value. What does it mean? Instead of looking at all the customers only by how much they've spent on you, or God forbid, seeing all as average customers, you rate them and you score them based on how recently they've bought, how frequently they've bought, and what's the total monetary value, how much they contribute, how much they've spent on your store. That allows you to give all these scores from, let's say, a scale from 1 to 5. You will end up having customers like the soulmates, which are active, they have the highest recency, the highest frequency, and the highest monetary value. Or ex-lovers. They used to be true lovers, but they have the lowest score in the recency, but the highest scores in the frequency and monetary value, and so on. Now, you can look at the soulmates and understand that you have these ideal customers that have, as I've said to you, high scores in recency, frequency, and monetary value. So they have 5, 5, 5 on all these aspects. Now, you also have the lovers that are having 4, 4, 5, and so on. But fact is that by doing this, you actually understand which are those customers and what are the common characteristics of those customers. If you look from an helicopter view, you'll also be able to understand these anomalies, like you can see here with real data from a real customer. 1% of their margin was generated by 21.67% of those customers that the company paid to acquire. So imagine that this company was losing money from these breakups and getting a lot of money from these soulmates or lovers. So once you understand the distribution between the share of customers, share of revenue, and share of margin, you'll end up having these different segments of customers and will allow you to treat them differently. So everything will change once you understand this kind of different behavior, right? So 1.7% of your customers that brought 12% of your margin. And if you sum up the soulmates with the lovers, you'll end up having 7% of your customers that generated almost a third of your total margin. Now, if you also look in the dynamics, you will be able to see what happened in the last Black Friday. As you can see here, these are the potential lovers. The apprentices are new customers, a lot of them, but with low value. You have the lovers, you have the platonic friends, and you have the soulmates. All of these 5 groups out of 12 are the ones that are actually actively contributing to the revenue. Now, if you understand this dynamic, you'll also understand that you need to increase the number of soulmates. So the total revenue it's the healthiest to be generated by the soulmates, because those customers are buying without you incentivizing them, without you making any kind of discounts. They have the habit formed, and they keep on buying from your store. Now, for all of these type of customers, you'll end up having a different Black Friday strategy. So let me show you. Soulmates, for instance. As I've told you, in this case, 1.7% of the customers, 12% of the margin. Your main goal in Black Friday would be to make them feel precious, because it's somehow frustrating to understand that for any new customer, you give the same treatment as you are giving to me. That I'm a special customer, I bought like 10 times already, and you give the same 20% or 40 or 50 or whatever discount. So in order to make them feel precious, my suggestion would be, because these are your pure gold customers, to treat them differently. So build a wish list, find out what they desire early on, identify what they bought in the past, and offer them a special campaign with the products that are important for them and with the brands that are important for them earlier. And moreover, try to deliver their goods earlier, because that will make them lifetime customers. That's what they are looking for, to make them to feel precious. Another thing, after the Black Friday will end, do this. Try to make them feel better by giving them a thank you note in the delivery package, enroll them in a special program, prepare an "we're sorry for the mess" discount in case you drop the ball. So after you monitor the customer experience, anytime their NPS goes lower than 6, you can activate this kind of treatment. And it's easy to do that by using this automated system. So by using email systems such as Klaviyo or SendGrid, integrated with Reveal, which is our technology from Omniconvert, and Omniconvert Explore, you simply leave the machines to do all of this. But fact is that you need to get back and to try to think smart and work smarter than you used to do. So this is the time of letting the machines to work for you. And you can do all of these things by preparing them like a director, right? Directing a movie. If this happens, then I want to do this for these customers. Then let's go further. The potential lovers. These are 5, 1, 5. So highest scores in recency, lowest score in frequency, and the highest score in monetary value. So you need to tease them to place their second order. And the next steps would be to surprise and delight them, identify what they bought in their first order, and see if there are some, let's say, anomalies over there. Maybe most of them are buying this item, or most of them are coming from a special region or whatever. And then tailor-made campaign. So why you need to move them from the first order to the second order? This is actually a snapshot from a real customer of Reveal. So after the first order has been placed, the chances to place the next one are 18%. After the second one is 26%. After the third one, and so on. You got the picture. So your focus should be to move all those customers from here to there. How you can do that would be to identify early on, if you have a potential lover and they place their first order, you might want to treat them differently. Going further, the about to dump you. These are customers that, in this case, there are 22% of the customers, 21% of the margin. They are like, they are not your best one. What you can do with them, once they are not breakups like low valued customers, they are still bargain hunters, because they have high frequency but low monetary value. So as you can see over here, they are not buying in full price, their AOV is not that high. So what you might want to do is get rid of all stock goods in this Black Friday. So instead of let's say wasting your bullets on them, maybe you can find what stopped them from buying, treat their objections, and send them campaigns which are addressing the goods that you don't want to ruin the margin on your soulmates, which are able to buy in full price. The next group, ex-lovers. 1 in recency, 5 in frequency, 5 in monetary value. 20% of the customers, 27% of the margin. Your goal would be to win them back. Now, it's very hard to win them back, but the Black Friday could be a great opportunity for that. First, you can run a survey early on to find out what stopped them from buying. And let's say, instead of pushing them with a discount, start a conversation. Hey, we haven't seen you in a while. What stopped you from buying? And then insert them, let's say, voucher or a special voucher or something that allows you to gradually tease them to buy, to make them buy again in this Black Friday. So in order to do that, you can disguise customer research and understand what stopped them from buying again, and then activate a discount, announce them that the discount is available only for them because they are one of the most valuable customers, and so on. You got the picture. With the Don Juans, it's pretty much the same. Don Juans are customers that bought only once, a lot of time before, and they have the highest monetary value. In order to do something for them, you need to understand that they have a high potential. They've bought, they are the most, the best ones in terms of monetary value, so they have the highest customer lifetime value, but they bought only once. So imagine what's their potential. With only 3% of the customers, you've generated 13% of the margin. You try to win them back with this Black Friday, and it's almost the same strategy as you do with ex-lovers. The difference is that their purchase power is even better. So a Don Juan customer has even a highest purchase power than an ex-lover. Now, after you do that, you see what's going on with the CLV, because the beauty of customer lifetime value is that instead of looking at an average CLV, you look at the CLV for each customer group. And you might want to transform the Don Juans into soulmates and lovers. As you can see here, they have the highest customer lifetime value. So the first thing to do right now, in case you're fast enough, would be to do qualitative research. So prepare the RFM segments, then prepare the list, create the questionnaires, understand what pissed them off, and then treat those objections in your Black Friday campaign. What you might want to do to do in terms of this research, you might want to run NPS for all the customer groups to understand what are the demographics and anomalies for each customer group. Maybe there are cities where your fulfillment is not working that well, and that's where you have the highest density of ex-lovers. And then you understand the reasons won, the reasons lost. Sorry, I don't think you can see that. The reasons lost for the ex-lovers, Don Juans about to dump and breakups, and understand the main barriers for all of these customers. Alternatively, you can also run jobs to be done, but this is a methodology that is so amazing that you don't want to make it before Black Friday. So my suggestion would be to keep in mind this way to understand how to keep customers buying from you and treat them, address this after the Black Friday. So with this qualitative research, you can have two types of issues. Product issues, so you simply selling low quality products and you might want to stop that. Or you have services issues, your fulfillment, your delivery time, and so on. So all of these are going to generate insights for your audience. And as I've told you, maybe you can look at the buying patterns. Where are my ex-lovers coming from? Where is the the highest density of true lovers? In which city? Or from which customer, from which category, or from which brand? Once you do that, you must find your ideal customer profile, and you can change three things. Better ads targeting by building lookalike audiences based on your best customers, or your VIPs, or soulmates as we call them. Improve the assortment and the merchandising by understanding which are the products which are churning your customers, so the toxic products, and improve the customer service by providing priority support and better response rates or tailor-made return programs for the customers that matter. So the customers which are not converting, which are not buying again from an e-commerce and from a company, are not doing that mainly because they are being stolen by the competition. Data shows, as you can see here, that 68% of the customers that are leaving a company are leaving that company because they feel that company doesn't care about them. And in order to prevent that from happening, my suggestion would be to A, segment your customers according to RFM, and B, monitor their NPS in real time. So you can do this by triggering these surveys pre-delivery, before the goods were being delivered, and post-delivery. By looking at this difference between the pre-delivery and post-delivery, you can look at anomalies based on the categories that you're buying, RFM segments, brands that you're buying, and then you can come up with this beautiful way of treating the objections in real time. So once you have on the thank you page of customer, you collect the pre-delivery NPS. If the score is high, don't bother about that. If the score is low and the customer segment is a high, is an important customer, trigger an alert in real time to the customer service. Then the post-delivery NPS will allow you to see the expectation gap. So what you've promised to the customers and what you've delivered after when the order has been shipped. So you can do the same thing. If you have a high customer rate, if you have a high NPS, you can facilitate those customers to promote you, because that's NPS, Net Promoter Score. What are the chances to recommend our company and our products to a friend or relative? If the score is average, you can ask another question to understand why. If the score is low, and the same, if the score is low and the customer is not that valuable, you can just trigger an email. But if the score is low and the customer is one of the top customers, you can trigger an alert to the customer service. So that's how you make this journey happen. So first, nail down the e-commerce growth formula. Second, do RFM segmentation and understand which are your best customers. Then run qualitative surveys and understand what's pissing them off. What are the reasons that made them stop buying, and which are the frictions that they have. Then nail down the ideal customer profile. So identify your bullseye, your best customers. Then analyze the buying pattern. Maybe there are some brands and categories which are toxic. Maybe there are some cities where your fulfillment is not going so well. Then with decisive insights, improve your ads, improve your emails, improve your product merchandising and inventory, improve your website, and of course, improve the customer service. Then do the customer journey mapping, analyze the touch point that you have with each customer, and then craft a customer retention strategy that you make happening by doing ongoing personalization via SMS, web, email, ads, and direct mailing. Now, the good news is that you can do this at this moment. For Shopify, for instance, we have revealed that it's completely free until the end of 2020, and we are considering to help the Shopify merchants use this in 2021 as well, without any kind of investment. Now, Reveal helps you to do RFM segmentation, to do personalization, and to track all of these KPIs that matter, so that you can improve your customer lifetime value. So that was it from my end. If you want to stay in contact, I'll be glad to connect with you via LinkedIn. Derek, let me know if there are questions, or if we have enough time to get some questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much. With no questions coming just yet, I have plugged the link to the website here in chat, and you can go there, check out Reveal. Is there a special place that we need to go to get it for free, or can we get it for free on the main website?
You can get it for free on our website, omniconvert.com, or you simply go to the Shopify App Store, you search for Reveal, and that's it. You don't have to do anything in particular.
Awesome. I love it. And I think, sometimes it gets a little scary or confusing. You showed us so many different segments and so many different things we need to understand about each one of them. But if you could just tackle 2 segments and then 3 segments and start to really build that out and create personalized automation and sequences and messaging to each of them, I think that's where we make a big difference in long-term experience, really, is what it is. Because people today do not want to be treated like part of the herd. It's quite ironic, isn't it, that we're all subscribing to be associated with a brand, which kind of makes us naturally part of that herd or that tribe, or however you'd like to say it. But simultaneously, we want that experience to be unique to us. or we think that we're special. I mean, we definitely in America live in a society of very special people. Everyone thinks they're a little special. All right, sorry. That was my own side rant on that. But we can cater to that, which as marketers, business owners, and e-commerce professionals, we can cater to that. So, and Stephanie says she is special. Sure you are,
She
Stephanie.
really is. Yeah. She is a special
Awesome.
lady.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Valentin. Sorry. And we're going to move right into the next talk